mode.
Hello there, and welcome to the webinar for the first timers for Extravaganza 2014. We're really glad you're here. We're glad we have this opportunity to talk about the Extravaganza, answer any questions, do all that kind of stuff. My name is Todd. I am um, married to Lori, parent of Nathan and Samuel. I'm a pastor at Lord of Life Lutheran Church in Maple Grove, Minnesota, and um, also serve as the executive director of the ELCA Youth Ministry Network. And I'm really glad to be here, really glad you're here, really glad that we're going to spend time together in St. Louis in just a few weeks. Kind of a quick overview of what we want to have happen. Our goal for today, we want to get you to know the network and a little bit about the extravaganza to help you get a sense of the community that you're going to be entering into when we are in St. Louis together. I'll let you know some of the resources and such that are available to you during the time of the event itself, and then basically just to kind of help you feel prepared, confident, and excited for the event itself. Again, just really looking forward to it. A quick couple of introductions I want to make to you as well. Amy Wagner is the coach for the regional facilitators. We'll get more into this later, but the network has a board of directors and then a group of regional facilitators who are our communicators and work regionally within the network. Amy coordinates and coaches that group. Robin Kunkel is the regional facilitator from it's Region 8, right, Robin?
Yes.
I always get I always get 7 and 8 confused. I can't figure out where the
Me
boundaries
too.
are. I know. And then Lisa Gray is um, from Region 1 out in the Pacific Northwest. So thank you guys very much for giving up part of your Sunday afternoon for this conversation as well. One thing I do want to note is we're interactive, but kind of partially interactive. We can't hear you, but there is a place for you to type your questions in. If you look in the box on the right hand side of your screen, I believe it should be on most computers, there's a question box. You can type a question in there. And then as we go, we'll answer those questions either during the conversation if there's an appropriate time to insert a question, or at the end we'll get to all the questions. You can make sure we get those answered as well. So please feel free to jump in and to post your questions. I'm going to turn it over to Lisa, who's going to walk us through some stuff about the network itself. So go ahead, Lisa.
All right. Hi, I'm Lisa Gray. I am out here in near Portland, Oregon, and I serve at Zor Lutheran Church in Canby, just south of Portland. And I've been doing this a while, and the network is something I'm really passionate about. And so, just because it's been such an instrumental part in my ability to serve where I have and how I have, and been a fantastic support. So I'm excited to be here. I am the regional facilitator right now for Region 1. This is the end of my term, and there will be a new person coming on, but I will be at Extravaganza. It's one of my favorite parts of the entire year. So what I want to just share with you guys a little bit about is kind of the history of the network itself and where Extravaganza fits into that as a vision for ministry um, with those who are serving in youth ministry. So you'll see on your slide, feel free to read whatever's on the slides there. I'm hopefully not just going to read straight to you, but a little bit about the history where the network comes from. It's a very organic thing. It grew out of a need that others were already trying to meet for themselves. So youth ministers gathering to support each other already discovered that all over the country this was happening. So why not coordinate those efforts? And so the people who were in this from the beginning, Todd being one of those, just developed this network that we know today. Some of you may have been a member of the network already for a while, and this is just your first extravaganza. So if that's the case for you, you probably have a sense of what the network is, and if not, hopefully you'll get a sense in the next few slides. So the mission of the network, just like you see there, the ELCA Youth Ministry Network exists to strengthen and empower adult youth ministry leaders in service to Christ. So that's wherever you're serving, whoever you are, whatever your context is. You'll see language later, whether you are rostered, volunteer, professional, layperson, that is not a distinction that is made in the youth ministry network. We are here serving the young people. And so the vision within that is to live out that mission is one of renewal, education, and connection among those people who are serving in that way. We'll talk more about what each of those means. Core values, and I think these are really important because this demonstrates who we are, and I think you'll see it lived out at the Extravaganza in some pretty exciting ways. So striving to be faithful witnesses of the Christian gospel, these are the things we value. Faith formation for youth and adults, that it's key to a relationship with Jesus Christ. Adult youth ministry leaders, equally valuing, and this has been important to me, lay, roster, volunteer, paid. I am a lay person. I am employed by my church, but I've never felt that there's a big distinction within the ministry as to the value of those different ways of doing ministry. So we value healthy and supported networked ministries because most of us can attest to the fact that if you start feeling like you're alone in anything, it gets really hard to do really fast. And another value is the current and potential cultural and spiritual diversity of our communities, and therefore seek to welcome all persons. So there's a lot of people come into St. Louis, and they're from all over. They are very diverse in nature. Professional relationships among adult youth ministry leaders. That's that network piece. One thing I've experienced is the raising up of youth ministry in the eyes of many people as being, some people will say, taking it beyond pizza and bowling. It is a work and it is a ministry that is valued, and we are, whether you are volunteer or paid, you are a professional in this. Our partnership with the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, you'll see it says ELCA Youth Ministry Network. It's in partnership with the church-wide organization, but not necessarily out of that church-wide organization. And we value practices that are informed by biblical and theological wisdom. So we try to do things well and informed by our tradition and our theology. So the geography of who we are and where the leadership comes from, you may or may not be familiar with how the geography of the ELCA is laid out. So the network covers the entire United States, and its leadership comes from literally all over. So you'll hear us talk in a second about regions and synods, and that might be familiar language to some of you, but if it's not, that's okay. In this map, you'll see the regional map of the ELCA. There are 9 regions, and their size, you see that they're of all different sizes, but it's relative to the population density and number of churches within each of those regions. Each region is then further subdivided into smaller synods, and there are 65 synods. I'm not going to list all of those for you, but you can find out information about your synod and region at the ELCA churchwide website. So the leadership of the network, what you see on this slide does not encompass the entirety of the leadership of the network. There are dozens of people involved in leadership roles within the ELCA Youth Ministry Network. I encourage you to take a look at the Youth Ministry Network website and look at the leadership roster and just see how many people it really takes to be involved. So the 3 groups listed here, there is the network board, the board of directors. They provide the vision, direction, and policies, kind of the oversight. The regional facilitators, there are 9 of those, and then the coach, as Todd said, Amy is our coach, so that there is one person in each region who's kind of the go-to person in that region for the network. And then the Extravaganza team. These are the ones you'll see a lot at the Extravaganza, kind of doing their thing and creating the space and the energy that you will see and participate in that at the Extravaganza. So this is just a highlight of who those are. The new names on there that probably aren't reflected on the Youth Ministry Network website yet is Region 1 and Region 5. Pam Gompf is the new um, regional facilitator coming on in Region 1, and Andrew Carmen in Region 5. I think they might be on our call today, but again, we don't have that interactive capability. So you've heard a little bit about the network, what it is, how it works, who's involved, but this extravaganza. So the reason you're here on this webinar is you're a first-time participant at the extravaganza, which is exactly as exciting as it sounds. But what is it? What's it for? It's an annual 4-day conference. 500 to 750 participants. And Todd, can you confirm it's over 600 this year?
As of right now, we are at 601.
Just over 600. And when it says premier renewal education and networking event of our church, it's not understating it, or it's not overstating it. And it really is a very unique place, and the opportunities there are incredibly valuable. It's for professional or volunteer. You'll see all ages of people involved in youth ministry, all contexts of ministry are represented there, lay people, rostered leaders, and it's just for anybody who is called into this ministry with youth and children as well. There's a lot of people involved in children's ministry too. This is just a little bit about where it's been in the past. You can see it's in its 18th year and kind of travels all over. It migrates intentionally each year to try and disperse the fun and love as much as possible. It's slightly influenced by where might be a little bit warmer. You don't see too much north, and anybody looking at the weather recently can understand why. No offense. But it's always in the winter, so it tries to locate itself somewhere that can accommodate a group like this near a hub airport, just to make air travel reasonable. On years that with an ELCA youth gathering, the extravaganza is held in that same city, so those bringing youth to the gathering have a preview of the city. And in the most recent years, those people have even gotten to visit their hotel sites. They try to do the hotel assignments by the time extravaganza happens. So cooperative efforts in that way between the Youth Ministry Network and the youth gathering are really valuable to people involved in youth ministry. So the extravaganza is also a place that embodies, again, this vision of the Youth Ministry Network. So extravaganza is about renewal. Extravaganza is church. Every day we gather for worship. We gather at the table. We break bread together, both in communion and then also in just the very fellowship centered way of just meeting together for meals. And we, at the extravaganza, we experience the love and the grace of God. The hope is that you will leave extravaganza feeling renewed and re-energized to go back to your context and live the calling that you've been called to. Extravaganza is about education. The opportunities for continuing education at the extravaganza are vast. Whatever questions you come with, there is probably a workshop that will meet that, and we'll talk about workshops a little bit later. But the learning is designed around two primary venues. There's the large group sessions. We meet every day in mass to hear from other people working in youth ministry, whether it directly educational or also larger kind of theological context, that sort of thing. And then in smaller workshop sessions, that's where the kind of nuts and bolts, practical skills, you take home stacks of paper, but it's not the kind that you just take home and pile on your desk. It's the kind of stuff, at least for me, I know I go back to over and over again, reviewing what I have learned and gained through these workshops. And it's formational in lots of ways and opportunities for ministry. An extravaganza is about connection. I've always said to people that I love the network and particularly the extravaganza because of the depth of conversations I get to have with other youth workers. So many times I talk to people just in my everyday life about what I do. And the question is, you do what or why? At the extravaganza, every conversation starts beyond that point. We come from different contexts and places, but we come from the same place in that we understand what it means to be called to do this sort of ministry. So you don't have to explain what it is you do or how you don't have to justify that part. You just start beyond that point and talk with other people um, who have felt called in that same way. So you're not alone. You sit across from someone with the same job description and you get to start talking about what works for you or what are your challenges, and it's very affirming, and you hear back a lot of your own same um, questions and wonderings, and to sit with somebody else in that is pretty fantastic. All right, so some of the logistics. Um, Everybody should be flying into the St. Louis, I think it's Lambert Airport, um, and from the airport to the Hyatt and the Drury Inn, and there might be um, there's a third site. Is that I don't know what that
Yep,
one's called
that's on the
though.
next
Okay.
slide. Yep.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Really great light rail that's going to make it pretty expedient to get to where you need to go. The closest station, I think, to all three hotels, is that still right, Todd? Is the 8th and Pine station?
No, that's actually not the case. And it's
Okay.
what's really simple. The Sheridan's a different stop, but at the airport, it's incredibly simple. The airport is at the end of the blue line on the light rail. So basically, if you from the airport make your way, follow the signs to the Metro Link station. Um, what you get on the train, you have no opportunity to go the wrong direction because it's the end of the line. So you just get on and go, and it will take you right towards downtown. And the that station, 8th and Pine, is the station that will be the closest to both the Hyatt and the Drury. And from the Hyatt and the Drury, it's probably about a 3 block walk. You come out of the station, hang a left, take the first left onto Pine, and follow that down. If you're not exactly sure which direction is which, look for the arch. You can't miss it, and you just walk towards the arch, and it will down Pine, and it will take you right to the hotel. As far as the Sheridan goes, same thing. You hop on the Metrolink. You would take get off at the station for the Civic Center, and the Civic Center station, which is 2 stops down from the station at 8th and Pine, so it's 2 stops earlier, I should say. Um, the station comes up, and what they tell me from the hotel is it's basically just across the street from the Sheridan, so it's right there and easy to find and easy to get to.
Okay, and
Then,
Todd
go
can
ahead.
probably speak to this one too. Will there be registration at just the Central Hotel there at the Hyatt?
Yeah, what I would suggest is, depending on the timing, probably you're going to want to go to your own hotel first. The vast majority of people are at the Hyatt. We have, I think, 45 rooms at the Drury and about 40 rooms at the Sheridan. Um, and we apologize. We try to get everybody in the same hotel if we can, but this year we just had more people than we had uh, rooms contracted for in the hotel and such, so we had to go to overflow. Um, the You'll want to check in at the hotel. Just check in like you would any other time you go to check into a hotel, and then the actual event registration will take place on the fourth floor, um, outside of the grand ballroom at the Hyatt itself. So you'll want to make your way, if you're at one of the other two hotels, over to the Hyatt at some point. And there you'll get all your registration information, and the hospitality team will be there to greet you, as will Lori and Debbie, and to welcome you. Um, it should be a pretty easy and seamless process to getting registered when you actually get to the Hyatt. But you'll want to go to the fourth floor, and there'll be signs in the lobby that kind of point your way there as well. As far as other details, um, we encourage you. Almost everything you need to know about the event itself can be found on the website. If you go to elcaymnet.org and then hover over the tab for the extravaganza, there's about 15 different pages that have information on it. Schedule will give you the minute by minute. When you register and check in, you'll also get a program book that will have information, a full detailed schedule, plus information on all the speakers, the worship leaders, the workshops, all those schedules, all that information will be in the program book. We anticipate in the next 10 days having that program book also online as a PDF or as a version readable in for the iPad or for tablets as well, so you can download it into a device if you want to. We also have the schedule loaded into the network app. We have a mobile app for the network, and you can go to elcaymnet.org/app to download that. It's a thing that we use not just for extravaganza, but year round. Lots of stuff, prayer requests, and other events and things like that. But also under the events section, if you then scroll to the days, you'll see the whole schedule for the extravaganza kind of laid out there. And as we go, if there are changes that happen, schedule shifts, we'll post those in the app. We'll also put them on the online schedule. We'll also be putting those on the event's Facebook page and the Twitter feed and all that kind of stuff, just to keep people informed. There are a couple times that we think are important for folks to know about. At 5 o'clock on Friday, the event itself, the main event, starts at 7 in the ballroom, but at 5 o'clock, we're going to do kind of part two of this orientation. What we'll do there, because we really want the event to be a relational event. It's all those things that Lisa talked about, but it's about building those connections with people. So we want you to come and meet people face to face. And what we're going to do is break people down by regions, and then take you on a little tour around the hotel space, and you'll go to the hospitality table, meet the hospitality team, go to the exhibit area, meet some of the exhibitors and the team that put that together. You'll go in the ballroom, meet the main stage team, and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to walk folks around from place to place over the period of about 45 to 50 minutes, and you'll get a chance to kind of get the whole sense of the entire event, plus get a pretty good tour of the hotel. There are regional gatherings. On Friday night, we're going to get together as regions for a little reception prior to a large group reception. Then, of course, the workshops we mentioned and Lisa talked about, as well as other gatherings, the exhibit hall, hospitality table, lots of ways for folks to connect with each other. Then we want to think a little bit about the event and kind of making it your own space. Lisa or Robin, were you talking about this part, or?
This is Robin,
Hello.
and yeah, this is Janet and I had put this together, so we can talk about it and certainly fill in. Um, if we could get the next slide for there we go. Um, for renewing, as Lisa had said, we're renewing, we're educating, and we're connecting. For renewing, we have worship service, and you can see on the picture that was from last year. And there's many interactive things that happen at worship, which for me personally, I love. And there's also food throughout the whole extravaganza, where there are different receptions from different organizations. So if you're on a budget or you just need a snack, there's food there. Also, we talk about self-care, which is you're looking at the schedule and it seems overwhelming to you. It's okay to say, you know what, I'm not going to a workshop this time. I'm going back to my room. I'm taking a nap, or I'm going to go out and just take a little journey around the block. It's all right. You are there to renew and take care of yourself, which I think is so very important for anyone working in ministry.
One of the things maybe to add to that too, we've made available last year, I think for the first time, and will be this year as well, is we actually have two spiritual directors who will be on site, Bill and Carolyn Keys. They've been doing
Oh,
this for a number
yes.
of years, and they're fantastic. And if you're not familiar with spiritual direction, it's sort of spiritual accompaniment, kind of. It's not counseling, it's not pastoral counseling, but it's someone who's can talk with you about kind of where you're at in your own faith and can ask prompting questions and kind of sometimes you just sort of need a nudge. And we're bringing Bill and Carolyn in. They live in Northern California. They're fantastic. Bill used to be the director of youth ministries in the church-wide offices in Chicago, but he's also trained and certified as a spiritual director, as is his wife. And you can sign up for a time with them. There's a small cost. I think it's $25. You'll spend an hour with them. That's actually much less than it would normally cost to spend time with a spiritual director. And it's just a great resource, a great opportunity as well in terms of sometimes you just need someone else to help make that self-care thing happen.
Yeah, it's a nice addition. Okay, we're on educate. And if we could have a couple of those dots up there for me, thank you. Also, as Lisa and Todd were talking about for the education, there are various ways of doing that. It depends on your personality and how you like to glean information. The exhibits, people are there to talk to you. And I know I've gone to different tables and just introduced myself. They're very friendly. Tell them what you're looking for, or maybe you don't know what you're looking for, and they give you a lot of information. For me personally, I found they don't push, oh, you have to buy this, but they'll give it to you. You can take a look at it. I just don't feel like there's any kind of pushing consumerism, things like that. Also, the speakers at the large group are various as well, and they stick with the theme, which is frame this year. And it's very interesting to go to the large groups to listen to the speakers because they all, again, have different ways of presenting their information. The workshops are another thing that I like that Lisa had said is the nuts and bolts where you can sit down and sometimes you have an interactive in the workshops. It depends on the presenter and you get sometimes you get handouts and you can connect with someone else and pass off your emails and say, oh, I really like that idea. Could you send that to me when you get home? That's happened to me a lot of times and been very helpful. Also, there's a Connect journal, which also is snail mail or you can hold in your hand or you can read it online, which also goes with a theme and has different articles in it from different people throughout the nation. It's for me, it's something that I use. I really like the kind of Bible studies that Rebecca Wedge has put in there, and it's really helped me with confirmation and senior high. As far as the network for educating, they are, I think, well, I'm sorry, networking is just getting to know people. And I know there are some people who you may be coming alone, or even if you're coming with other people and it's your first time, there's shy people and there's outgoing people and everyone in between. I encourage you to get to know one person, especially that you can share information with when you get back home via email, via text, things like that. And I know myself, I really am a social person, but I also need my private time. So just to reach out and see if you can connect with someone. The third Tuesday conversations are another way when you're at home and not necessarily at the extravaganza that you can listen to different presenters. I know we had Nadia Volz-Weber on in December, and it's a webinar and it's very interesting to listen to the different presenters.
Hey, we had a question come in
All
as well
right.
from Hannah asking about how do you sign up for a session with the spiritual director. I should have said that. I apologize. There's really two ways to do that. One is you can do it ahead of time online. If you go on the website elcaymnet.org again / over the extravaganza tab, one of the options down that list of pages is for spiritual direction or spiritual director. It says click on that and it will take you to a sign up. You can sign up for a specific time, make an appointment now if you'd like to, so you can get that on your calendar. Or if you're not exactly sure what the schedule is going to look like and when you want to do it, you should be able to do that as well at the hospitality table, which is going to be planted right in the center of the exhibit area, right outside the main ballroom at the top of the escalators. You can't miss it. There'll be a sign up there for spiritual direction as well. Hannah just also asked another question: is the webinar over? No, not yet.
No,
Maybe,
one more slide, I think.
maybe you lost us in the technology of it, but we're still
Oh.
going a little bit. So
For connecting, we did talk about networking and talking to different people, getting to know different people. We've mentioned the hospitality table many times, and that is the place to go to if you have questions. They also, what I love is they have a basket there with little snacks or teas or different things that you can, I think you can also get like oatmeal packs, different things for your hotel room, and you ask them any question and they are there to answer it for you. So if you're feeling a little lost, the hospitality table is in a general area and they will help you in any way. And if they can't, they'll find a way to get that answer for you. I know for the regions that Lisa was talking about, I am the regional facilitator for 8, which is on the East Coast. And we are going to be having receptions. And for Region 8, it'll be a great opportunity for you to get to know people within your region and maybe even within your synod that you can connect with when you get back home. Also, again, as I was saying with the receptions, that's another way to connect with people and get to know other people and get to know leaders within the ELCA that can help you out. I know I've talked to Marilyn Sharp and the Keys as well, and it's really been nice. Everybody, like Lisa said, we're just homogenous. There's no titles. It's just everyone working within family and youth ministry, and I just love the family feeling that the Extravaganza and the Youth Ministry Network offers us. Also, again, as I said, meet the exhibitors, and if you're not sure what you're looking for, they're also very polite. They won't keep you at the table if you don't want to be there. And also some have chocolate, which is one of my favorites, so you can always go there and get your chocolate. And just try to reach out. And even in the large group sessions, when you're sitting there and for communion, don't be afraid to sit beside someone you don't know and just introduce yourself and just tell them where you're from, and that starts a conversation.
yeah, I think you find that people are just really interested in other folks that are there, and for a lot
They
of
are.
people, it almost has a reunion feel to it because friends get back together year after year and kind of check in and such. And but I guarantee that if you walk up to someone and say hi and introduce yourself, they'll be more than happy to. They'll be ecstatic to get to know you and your ministry and find out how things are going for you as well.
Yes.
Very much so. We had a couple other questions that it popped in. Hannah's back. She said, "Never mind, my Wi-Fi went out." So we're glad you're back, Hannah. Thanks. And then Andrea asked for regional gatherings. Which region should I go to? I'm doing candidacy through Montana and Synod in Region 1 and going to seminary in Iowa. Um, I think you probably go to both parties, I guess. I don't know. Um,
Sure.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's kind of up to you where you'd like to go. It might be good if you're looking at candidacy and placement potentially in Region 1 to connect there, but I don't know that it makes a
Yeah,
difference. I
that's what
think,
I was thinking.
I have
yeah.
an obvious bias for Region 1, but come see us. Iowa's not on the call, so I can put in my good word for Region 1 right now.
That's right. That's right. Region 1 always has a good party. So, if there are any other questions that you have, things that we haven't answered about Extravaganza, we'd love to answer them. Please type them into that question space, and we'll do our best to get to those as well. Amy, anything you want to add to the conversation?
No, I think
You had
it's.
you had no idea that was coming. Sorry, I just threw that out at
I
you.
didn't. I was almost taken aback. That's okay. I think I just can't reiterate the most of connecting with your regional facilitator, and just kind of at least you'll have one person, kind of to serve as like the point person or the meter or greeter. So even if I'm not a terribly outgoing person, but I can be in situations, and so I always appreciated folks introducing me to some people who maybe I may have not met, And I appreciate doing that for other people, so that we want everyone to at this event to kind of feel like they're a part of the group, and that they can really, you know, be just involved, and have someone there, even if they're coming alone or if they've never done this before. So yeah, that's kind of just what I would say. I'd say your regional facilitator is kind of your first go-to if you're because they're there for you, and they would want nothing more than to just help make those connections for you.
It's absolutely true. And you'll see people that are in different leadership roles. There's about 120 people in some kind of leadership role in the network, all wearing these name tags. And anybody you see wearing a name tag, please feel free to ask any question you've got. And again, they'll be glad to answer if they can. And just that whole sense of accessibility, I think, is one of the things that makes this event unique. I love going to different conferences and things like that. And sometimes you'll see the speaker and they kind of walk on stage and they walk off, and you never get a chance to connect or interact or ask questions. But all the folks we've got are just walking around and they're available. And it's you can walk right up to Andy Ritt and say, "Hey, what do you mean by this?" Or "What do you think about that?" Or any of the people that are workshop leaders um, or presenters or exhibitors. We've got, I think, 61 exhibitors this year so far, which I think might be the largest we've ever had. All those folks, resource providers, are there. And I like to think of the extravaganza sometimes as just a big conversation, and everyone's a part of it. And it's pretty awesome for that. I haven't seen any other questions pop in at this point, so I'm going to assume we have answered them. If you have other questions that come up after the fact, we'd love to be able to answer those for you. There's a couple of ways we can do that. You can look at, again, the extravaganza page. There is even a frequently asked questions page on there, I believe, that has a bunch of questions we hear often on it. You could always email me, Todd at elcaymnet.org. That's TODD at elcaymnet.org. Also, it would be a good opportunity to connect, though, with your regional facilitator. And maybe for the first time, you can go on the website under leadership, go to the regional facilitators page, get connected, or to the leadership roster page, get connected with your regional facilitator, send them an email, introduce yourself, ask the question you need to ask, or make a suggestion, or um, ask them to buy you coffee when you're there, whatever it would be. I'm sure they would love to connect with you as well. Anything else we need to add into the conversation?
I think you may have touched on it, but to be able to find what region you're in, lots of times I think there's a book, isn't there, that they get like a yearbook that they can look at or to find out where the region is. Because I know when I first started, I had no clue where my region was, but I started out with my synod, and then I went to finding out where my region was, and then narrow it down to 8E, which was my synod number. So I think if they go to their leadership in the church, they could help them find out where their synod in their region is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can do that. In the book, there's also, if you go to I think on our regional facilitator page, there's a link to what region am I in. And if you click on that, it'll take you into the
Okay,
LCA
great.
website, and there's a map there so you can figure out where you are and then what region and what synod you're in as well. That's a great suggestion. Jamie also just said, do you want to say anything about the food options in the hotels or nearby? Great question.
Yes.
There are lots of food options that are close by in walking distance. And the beautiful thing about St. Louis is getting around St. Louis is pretty easy. The hotel itself has 3 restaurants in the lobby. There's a small sports bar called the Brew House, a historical sports bar, they call it. I'm not totally sure why it's historical, but that's what they call it. The food's really good. There's also a restaurant in the lobby called Red's, which does a great breakfast buffet. It's a little more expensive, probably 15, $16. Also has lunch and dinner menu option kinds of things. Food there's really, really good. There's also a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in the lobby, which I plan on just sitting outside of and smelling the food. That's all. That's the closest I'll get. But it's really, if you want to spend one night with friends and or someone you meet and say, let's go splurge and just have a really fun meal, that would be a great option within the hotel. In close walking distance, there are a number of places. Um, that are close by. Our hospitality table will have a directory of nearby restaurants. If we can get it online, we're also going to try to have it on before we go, but they're collecting that information right now, and they'll have it at the hospitality table. There's everything from a Subway that's about a block away, um, a couple great little Italian places. There's also probably about 3/4 of a mile away. There's University Avenue. Um, and University Avenue is full of these really fun different kinds of ethnic restaurants. Thai restaurants, Indian restaurants, places like that. Lots of options as well. 3/4 of a mile might be a little farther than you want to walk. But the other cool thing about St. Louis, they have this deal called the Downtown Trolley, part of the public transportation system, but it's just a bus that's shaped to look like a trolley, and they drive this thing. It just runs in a loop around downtown. It runs every 15 minutes on weekdays, and I think every 20 minutes on weekends. And for $2, you get an all-day pass to ride this thing. And so you can hop on that at the Hyatt. It's just a bus. It probably holds 25 or 30 people, but you could hop on that bus, and it's about probably a 5 to 7 minute bus ride down to that University Avenue area, or for that matter, pretty much any other place in downtown you can get to within 15 or 20 minutes on the shuttle. The other thing is for the folks staying at the Sheraton, that shuttle runs directly from the front door of the Sheraton directly to the front door of the Hyatt. And you can get back and forth you can get from the Sheraton to the Hyatt in about 10 minutes. It runs in a circular loop, so it's a little longer to get back to the Sheraton because it has to loop around downtown, but still not, I don't think, too terribly bad. But that's a great way of getting around and seeing downtown. I'm also going to say we found this phenomenal barbecue place called Smoky O's. If you can get there, you got to eat it. If you like barbecue, it's really good. That's just my own personal deal. So there you go. Probably more than you want to know about food, but I care about food, so it's all good. I don't see any other questions
Yes.
popping in. Anything else for the group, Amy or Lisa or Robin?
I just would like to invite you all again to the tour that will happen Friday at 5 p.m. During before the event begins. And that would also be a great time to kind of informally or maybe formally meet your regional facilitator, get to know them, and have them get to know you, and while learning about the things dealing with the E and where to go and all the inside kind of information. But yeah.
That's terrific. Great. Well, thank you guys very much for coming. Any questions, give us an email, give us a call, do what you need to do. We'd love to help you make sure you have a fantastic experience in St. Louis at the Extravaganza. So thank you again for your time. We look forward to meeting you in person when we are there under the arch. Take care and have a good night.